Hello and welcome. I'm Ann Bjornson, Senior Vice President of Human Resources at Leidos and Chair of WashingtonExec's HR Council. And I want to welcome you to the latest in our video series, Talent at the Core. This series invites subject matter experts to share their perspectives on various challenges, trends, and best practices in areas related to people. In today's episode, Human Resources in Private Equity, we've invited two members of our HR Council, and I would like to quickly introduce them. Saima Malik is currently the Vice President of Human Resources at Avantus Federal, where she's responsible for design and implementation of the HR strategy. Khuo is the Chief Human Capital Officer of BlueHalo, where he's responsible for the overall human resources strategy and operations. Thanks to each of our panelists for joining us today. Saima, let's start with you. Can you please describe a little about how your organization is structured?
Joanne, thank you. I am very excited to be here today to share my experiences and get the opportunity to also learn from my fellow WashingtonExec HR Council member, Ray. In terms of our org structure, first let me start with the Avantus structure, but before I get into the HR org structure. Our Avantus organization is led by our CEO, Andy Maynor. Additionally, we have 3 chief executive officers to include our chief delivery officer and president of Avantus, Luann Pavko, our chief growth officer, Chris Blame, and our chief financial officer, Wayne Rayberger. Avantus Federal is owned and backed by a private equity firm, NewSpring. They work and support in collaboration with Avantus. In the last 3 years, we have integrated companies. We have integrated 8 companies, and we operate under a fully integrated structure and are a unified Avantus brand to include integrating benefits, culture, programs, policies, and more. This may not be a typical approach for a PE firm, but proves to be very advantageous from a people and culture aspect. On the HR side, our org is structured as 3 critical functions of HR. Those functions are led by our HR leadership staff to include delivery HR support, integration and analytics, as well as benefits and compliance. Throughout each of these functions, engagement and retention continue to be top of mind. Additionally, we have also developed the Avantus People Strategy Group, which is an innovative way to collaborate human capital functions throughout Avantus in order for us to continue to enhance our attract, engage, and retain talent efforts. This truly allows us to be a partner of the business, not just an HR function.
Great. Ray, how would you say HR in private equity differs from HR in non-private equity?
Yes, good morning, and thank you for having myself and BlueHalo as a part of this great series. I would say that what's different a little bit about human resources in private equity, BlueHalo is backed by a great private equity firm, Arlington Capital Partners, and we're led by our CEO, Jonathan Moneymaker. What's different in my experience in private equity, human resources, than other human resources organizations is primarily 3 things. We're primarily, it's a little bit, I would say, cliche, but also at the same time, there's an element where there's some truth to that. I would say it is about flexibility. There's a lot of flexibility in human resources for a private equity firm. The ability to be able to move quickly, be agile, make changes on the fly. We're still compliant, we're still legal, but there's an opportunity really to make decisions and changes as we go and as the business evolves. I'd say secondarily, speed. The speed at which human resources in private equity works is it's intense. There's a high rate of speed at which we operate, primarily because of the first aspect, which is flexibility. Since we're able to make decisions and changes on the fly, the speed at which we work is pretty incredible and intense. So there's a great opportunity to make these adjustments, if you will, like a sporting team. But at the same time, the speed is incredible because you have this flexibility. And I'd say lastly, something that differs about human resources in private equity would be I'd say the need for results. the immediacy for results. So with speed and with flexibility, the expectation for results, good or bad, is there. And so I would say we like to follow the mantra of fail fast, try, understand what employees' needs are. And if you fail, own it, and then adjust quickly and then move forward. And so the speed, the flexibility, and those results are what drive us and what makes us human resources in private equity slightly different. But we follow the same challenges and the same types of requirements that all human resources have.
Great. Well, last question for each of you. Maybe you can help us demystify some perceptions or myths. What challenges and advantages do you think you have as an employer in the private equity space? Saima, let's start with you.
Okay, great. Well, I have worked for companies owned by PE firms in the past as well, and have seen, some interesting challenges. But the relationship that Avantus has with our PE firm, Newspring, is truly unique. Our PE firm from the onset has really taken the time to understand our mission, our values, our vision. They've also taken the time to really understand our customers and their missions as well. Our board of directors works directly with various aspects of our business to offer their expertise and support. And many of our board members come directly from our PE firm as well. So a great example of how we're really leveraging that is that our board is a big part of our mentor program. So our Avantus employees, through their talent development, through our ITM integrated talent management initiatives, really get an opportunity to get one-to-one exposure with our board members. So that's something that's been pretty great to see that I haven't seen before. Our PE firm also supports the vision to be the place for top talent to come stay, grow their careers here. And really, in understanding this, they have not only invested from the beginning, but very heavily supported our HR and human capital efforts persistently. This is often difficult in public companies highly focused on the next quarter results or the margin pressure, and often hard in private equity companies where the PE sponsor may be focused more on the debt or the financial agendas. But this sometimes makes the work to build a talent magnet really difficult, right? So our PE firm has really stood out differently from that. They are really understanding our market and our growth and don't allow that to be the case for us. If I did have to name a challenge, very small nuance, it would be that with the PE firm, we have an added level of more analytics and frequent data reporting, and just being smart about our data. But that has also awarded us the opportunity to know our data and to, in fact, build collaboration and partnership throughout the organization, not only from a human capital perspective, but how we take care of our employees and customers across Avantus. As a result, for my role directly, this is where our people strategy group was born. This is the group that really creates the human capital collaboration within the organization. And it's really allowed us to create a very cohesive environment where employee first continues to be the top priority.
Great. And Ray, what about you?
That's a hard act to follow. Saima said it all. I think she really, I concur with my colleague. I mean, I think a lot of it is the advantages of working with private equity versus disadvantages. Our private equity firm, similarly, Arlington Capital, is just a great supporter of all of our functional organizations, but in particular with human resources, as she pointed out. The things that I mentioned, flexibility, speed, and the results, those are interlaced with what we described as challenges and successes. And so the need for the results and producing good data is just good human resources. We provide great data because it's necessary to demonstrate the results that we're producing, and the effort that we're putting in, the flexibility that we have, and the speed at which we have to move at. If we didn't have that type of support, we wouldn't be able to achieve the successes we have. A good example is how quickly we can turn around offer letters. We have so much flexibility, how quickly we can get a sign-on bonus approved. Things of that nature that while at larger institutions or at other institutions, the ability to do that is within reach. Our ability to do it within, a couple of hours or less than that is just amazing. And that flexibility, that speed at which we move, that leads to some of our success. That it's a highly competitive market, and our ability to try and find quality candidates, not in volume, but in quality, is challenging as it is for everybody else. And so our ability and our success is within our private equity's ability to move quickly and get us what we need when we need it. So I can't disagree with anything what my colleague said. She articulated very beautifully. We have a similar support, a lot of support from Arlington Capital, and our ability to be able to move quickly gives us that advantage in private equity.
Fantastic. Well, that concludes this episode of our Talent at the Core series. I want to thank both of you, Saima and Ray, for joining us today and for sharing all of your insights and perspectives. Have a good day.